The big news of the weekend: Luis Arraez gets traded from the San Diego Padres. From the Miami Marlins to the San Diego Padres, and the return. I mean, in my eyes, I thought the return was actually fairly good. The Marlins got outfielder Dillon Head. He was their number six overall prospect, probably a borderline top 100 guy. Dillon Head. Jakob Marsee, the Padres' number 9 prospect, another outfielder. First baseman / outfielder Nathan Martorella, their number 13 prospect over there in San Diego. There's actually the funny video of him finding out the news that he was traded while he was on second base in a minor league game. And also the right-handed relief pitcher that they just signed this past offseason in Woo Suk Go ends up going to the Marlins as well. So 4-for-1 deal. Luis Arraez goes to the San Diego Padres, and what does he do in his first game? What is it, 4 hits in his first game? It's what the guy does, man. I don't know what to tell you. So Dalton, let me ask you first. You're the NL West guy, and listen, it just seems like almost every week that we're on, like these NL West teams find a way to reinforce themselves, right? Blake Snell signs, Jordan Montgomery signs, Dylan Cease gets traded to the Padres. Now Luis Arraez gets traded to the Padres. Like, all these teams are kind of reinforcing themselves in an effort to beat the Dodgers at the top of the division. At least that's what we can perceive. So what do you make of this trade of Luis Arraez going to the Padres?
It is so Padres, and it's also so Marlins. Like, it's such a fitting deal on both sides. Like, from the Padres side, I'll start there. I mean, they're a team that already fields 8, 9 shortstops out there every night. Why not add another middle infielder? Like, why not? You know, you can just make the whole team out of middle infielders and see what happens. Look, Luis Arraez is a very solid player. The Tony Gwynn comparisons are really funny. But look, this is a guy who's going to hit for average. He's not going to do a whole lot more than that, but he's going to hit for average, and there's certainly a use for that. He makes them better. Does it make a ton of sense to give up a whole bunch of prospect capital for Luis Arraez in May? Maybe. I don't know. To me, the Padres sitting at 17 and 19, I think they were when they made the deal, and like immediately pulling the trigger on parting with prospects for Luis Arraez is just, it's extremely AJ Preller, right? It's a team that consistently keeps separation in their decision making. They buy high on every player that they buy in on, and they sell low on every player that they sell on, and that's why they don't get over the hump. So, like, it's not like it's a bad deal. It's fine. Like, I think he's going to be a solid player for them. I don't think it puts them over the edge, but I think they were a good team, and I think they still are a good team. Yeah. From the Marlins perspective, again, it's also just classic Marlins, right? Peter Bendik's coming out and talking about how, well, we're not going to make the playoffs. Like, dude, we're a month into the season.
Yeah, that's true. That was nuts.
Like, the Nationals in 2019, when they won the World Series, started with a very similar, I forget what it was, but they started with a very similar record to this. And I'm not saying he's wrong or that the Marlins are some playoff contender. I just feel like this, like, eagerness to give up is very Marlins. And it's also like they're not that far away from the contender that they were last year. I mean, the pitching injuries are really what's making this year a wash. But like, you don't have to sell everything because your pitchers are hurt this year. And I hope they don't. Like, I hope they hold on to some pieces, because when that pitching staff is hopefully healthier in 2025, there's no reason that team can't be competitive again, unless they decide not to be, which would be very Marlins.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really kind of interesting because, and these are the lineups and rotations that we pulled from Fangraphs before the season when we were doing previews. Obviously, minus Luis Arraez in this lineup. I mean, I would imagine you're probably starting Nick Gordon at second base a lot of the time, but I mean, just touching on the rotation injuries, Alcantara's out. Yuri Perez is out. Edward Cabrera's out. Braxton Garrett's out, right? I mean, you're relying on a lot of arms that just don't have tons of, seasoning on them. Obviously, we like Jesus Luzardo. AJ Puck was primarily in the bullpen for most of his career, so it's interesting what they're kind of doing. And I think you're right about the actual Arraez angle to this, right? The Padre, I was thinking similarly to how you were. I texted you the night of this, the trade, and you got back to me the next day. You were just like, this is just what they do. Like, this is so Padres. They always buy so high at the top of the market for these guys. And if there was a team that, I mean, we've kind of grown accustomed to this over the past couple of seasons. If there was a team that was going to make a trade in early May of this magnitude, it would have been a team like the San Diego Padres that do this. And listen, there's no doubt in his value, right? And I think especially in that lineup, like Luis Arraez really can be kind of a table setter in that lineup. This was already a team that could hit. I mean, you get a guy who can just simply, one of the things that Luis Arraez does almost better than anybody in baseball is he just simply puts the ball in play. Like that guy just even if it's just a weak ground ball to short, like he puts pressure on a defense virtually every at bat. So that's something that I think is very important, especially with a team that has that strong of a middle of the order with Machado and Bogarts, Tatis Jr., Campusano, Ha-Sung Kim, Cronenworth. Like, those are real hitters in the middle of that lineup. Now you have a table setter, a true table setter at the top of that lineup. I think it could definitely be valuable to them. Again, how far that gets them, I mean, listen, like, it still doesn't put you past the Dodgers, right? I'm not sure what move you could make that would, but again, we've also seen in the past couple of years that maybe you don't need to be past the Dodgers, right? Like, this is one of those, things where, like, yeah, the Dodgers right now and the Braves, whoever, look like juggernauts. But, I mean, you saw what the Diamondbacks did. You saw what the Rangers did. You saw what the Phillies did a couple of years ago. Like, it's there. I see the strategy here.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's such a mixed feeling with the Padres because, like, I want to mock them because it is very Padres to just be like, let's go get the shiny thing when it's at its shiniest and pay full price for it and do it before everybody else and be in the headlines. Like, this has been what they've been doing for like several years now. But like, it is a good team. Like, that's what I think gets lost in all of this. And I've been saying it since preseason. Like, this is a good team. Like, this bullpen is excellent. The rotation is solid.
Yeah.
And the lineup was already pretty good and now got even better. So I think, like, there's no, it's such a weird dichotomy, my opinions of the Padres. Like, I really like some of the things that they've done. But I also just, like, kind of think they're a clown car at the same time, where it's like, I take them serious I take them seriously as a competitor, but I don't take them seriously as, like, anything more than that. So
as an organization, really, it's hard to do that. I do want to kind of touch a little bit more on what